It's the first day of October, which means the last month of the League One regular season. Union Omaha and Portland Hearts of Pine both have playoff aspirations. They round out the final 5 games of the regular season, as this week's midweek matinee of USL League One is presented by Centris on ESPN+. Hello and welcome, I'm Ryan Lee. Thanks for joining us. And in the home stretch, looking at the Teriyaki Madness standings is a must. Portland are 6 points clear of the playoff line, but 3 points could potentially tie them with Spokane Velocity, especially with a chance to host at Fitzpatrick Stadium, where they have been flat-out dominant. For Union Omaha, they've continued to push points to get them within a point above the playoff line. However, they want to increase that cushion. And for both Portland and Union Omaha, the good news for them is they have both been 2 of the hottest teams in the USL League One over the past couple of months. For Omaha, a backloaded home schedule has been what they've been provided, and they've taken advantage, beating teams by 2 goals on average with a plus 14 goal differential across 7 matches. After 5 wins and 2 draws, Vincenzo Candela said top to bottom, they're a stronger and more consistent roster that comes from having the best confidence and execution when the pressure has been at its highest over the last 2 months, including a dominant 3-0 victory on the road in Chattanooga, who currently are at the top of the table. A lot of that has come with a combination of the old guys mixing with the new guys. Some of the key offensive acquisitions have already made their presence felt in first-year Owls in Betcher, Patelafaz, and Ors Navarro. As for some of the holdovers like Osham and Bronick, they've made their way throughout the season, not only building on what they've done last year, but have really elevated their game in their second year in the Owl system. And because of that, Union Omaha are the 2nd highest goal-scoring unit across USL League One, with a potential chance to be the top offensive unit come the end of the afternoon. However, they have to deal with another one of the hottest teams in the league, actually the hottest team in the league. The current longest unbeaten run with 8 comes from Portland Hearts of Pine. After 6 wins and 2 draws, they have found ways to eke out results when the time matters. Late game equalizers, late game winners, or they'll just beat you in the shootout, including back-to-back clean sheets against Naples and Texoma. A late game winner by Nathan Messer not only extends the unbeaten run for the Hearts, but put them in prime position to make their first playoff hunt in their inaugural season. Nathan Messer has been one of the key contributors for Portland all year long. Second on the team in assists and chances created, but he has stepped up offensively on the regular from the left back slot. Expect him to get back into the mix again after spending last year in the championship, has made his immediate impact in USL League One. A push for the playoffs with 5 games remaining in the regular season. The final month of the League One season kicks off with Omaha and Portland. Lineups and kickoff are next.
Mi nombre es Josué Aaron Gómez y soy del Paso, Texas. Creo que significaría mucho para mí, para mi futuro. Creo que al terminar mi carrera futbolística, creo que poder implementar lo que voy a aprender en la escuela, creo que eso va a ser muy importante para mí y para mi futuro.
It's an age-old tradition, sneaking a taste before it's ready to serve. But when you see the finest reserve label, you just can't help yourself. Because you know an immersive, unexpected flavor experience awaits. The passion and the creativity are felt and tasted in every bite, twisting contemporary cuisine in satisfying new ways. It makes it almost impossible not to want to taste it before the meal. Finest Reserve. Every flavor tells a story.
To be a part of Nebraska medicine.
Hi, welcome.
Good to see you.
Is to be a part of something extraordinary.
Nebraska Medicine, how may I help you?
Because these are the doors.
How are you?
That open doors.
That went really well.
To growth
Hey.
and opportunity for each other and for our community. For those who know that the academic experience,
You know what? I agree.
the life experience that you get here is beyond what you can get anywhere
Doing
else.
great.
And that's exactly why here is where you belong. Nebraska medicine. Together extraordinary.
As we go through the starting 11s brought to you by Rotellus Bakery, Union Omaha making 4 changes. Between Kasim, Pino, and Bronick, there's been 12 goals combined between them. Bhutan will help up on the defense in the midfield with Ors Navarro and Betcher oftentimes coming up on the play. Rashid Nuhu remains between the pipes, 20 matches in the 2025 season for number 24 for Omaha. As for Portland Hearts of Pine, they're making 8 changes from their matches against Texoma, including a brand new front 6. Mikey Lopez is on yellow card accumulation suspension, so this allows 3 first-year pros in Southern, Riley, and Kvifta to occupy the front 6. Wright and Muhammad are building their roles, with both of them with only 4 starts, as Oladapo makes his second USL League One appearance in the 2025 regular season. We make our way to Werner Park at center pitch, where it's a 5-6 matchup in this matinee matchup on a Wednesday afternoon. Union Omaha will work with the black and green stripes. They begin left to right, while Portland Hearts of Pine will be in the white. With the blue shorts, they begin right to left as we get started in this Wednesday afternoon match at Werner Park. Number 5, Portland Hearts of Pine. Number 6, Union Omaha. For Portland, 3 points would tie them with Spokane in the top 4, while Union Omaha look to increase the 1-point cushion they have over number 8-seeded Charlotte. And especially for 2 of the hottest teams in the league, they both occupy the 2 currently active longest unbeaten runs in the league. For Omaha, they are unbeaten in the last 7, while Portland have stayed with points in 8. But an opportunity for Omaha as the attempted feed into the box is clipped up and out of play by Sean Vinberg, and only 45 seconds in, we have the first corner coming for Omaha. Already out of the gate. First corner by Modelo. First chance for Omaha. They've gotten on many quick starts, are the Owls. Getting the first goal in the opening couple of minutes in the last couple of matches. This one's headed towards frame, but over. As we just mentioned, for Union Omaha, they've gotten on quick starts over the last couple of matches. Scored within the opening 10 minutes against Knoxville a couple matches back, including getting the opener relatively early against the Chattanooga Red Wolves, a match that they pretty much dominated throughout the entire match. Vincenzo Candela just talking about how they were trying to manage the shooting opportunities for Chattanooga, especially trying to force them to the outside or force them to awkward angles so that they're not prime positions to score or even to make offensive attempts. Just trying to make sure the other teams try to not only stall their opportunities, but if they do get them, put them at the most awkward spot as possible so they can't get cleanly towards goal, and managing the game that's required based on the situation of the moment, especially for a Portland Hearts of Pine team that come into Werner Park, one of the best defensive units across the entire league. But for Omaha, they will be dealing with a brand new front 6 in the 4-4-2 for Alex Ryan, the acting manager for today's game. A lot of change up from the Texoma match. Some of that due to injury, and many of that due to minutes rotation with how much they've played over the last several weeks. They've had 3 weeks pretty much for the last month or 2. And that applies to Omaha as well, especially with some of the early schedule hiccups. They've all had backloaded schedules, as right after Omaha took the throw, this will now go to Portland. Breezy 79-degree day here in Papillion, Nebraska. Wind should continue to persist the entire match, ranging from 8 to 12 miles per hour, going near side to far. As this pops up in the air for a Portland throw. Muhammad to toss in, the attempt towards goal, took a tip off of one of the Owls, so this will provide Portland with their first corner chance. Ten, 4, and 10. Portland begin the season in the first 24 seasons of their team's existence. Good for a number 5 seed. They'll take the opening corner near side. Short it comes, but laid all the way back. Messer continues to work the wing. Served into the box, overhead, knew who the save. Second try, racing towards it. Riley takes a tumble, scrap in the area, still loose before Betcher bangs it out of play. And that play was very dangerous for Omaha. Portland really threatening, especially for a team that has been much better on the road, at least from an offensive standpoint, but they have been much more dominant back at home at Fitzpatrick Stadium. 4 wins and 6 draws across 13 matches for Portland on the road. Wu-Tan bodies off his man, he's got a chance. Attempted center, laid off, and the first save is made by Oladapo. Opportunities on both ends, right after the corner by Portland. The shot from deep forces the first save made by Cash Oladapo. First-year pro from the University of Portland with the Pilots, where he was a all-WCC player in 2023. As we take our first look at the Portland Hearts of Pine bench, that's assistant coach Alex Ryan. Bobby Murphy did not make the trip to Omaha due to illness, so this allows a chance for Ryan to step behind the bench for the afternoon. It's his first match leading a professional game. He has spent the last 4 seasons rather, as the head coach of USL League Two Seaside United Phantoms, as this rolls back to Oladapo. And also Alex Ryan, as he was leading the way for that Seacoast Phantom side in League Two. Not only had 3 straight Northeast Division titles from 2022 to 2024, but Alex Ryan led Seacoast all the way to the promised land. USL League Two champions in 2024 before being a part of Bobby Murphy's squad in this inaugural 2025 Portland season. Turnover at center allows the wraparound. Can't quite get there was Kvifta. Varela. Trying to find some room as it's laid back. Down the wing it comes, only Ostrom there. As the attempted help was attempted by Langlois. Kasim, the assistance as Betcher helps the breakout for Omaha. Naps pass, dribbles, a chance for Bronick to find a lane. Sends it up for Ostrom. Attempted cross, can't get anywhere. Way to get in front of it for Walter Varela, but it does give Omaha their second corner of the match. Trying to get past Walter Varela, who actually didn't play in the 2024 U.S. soccer season after being a member of the Chattanooga Red Wolves in 23. Ostrom ready for the second corner, it goes low. Second service towards the box, up in the air. That's a punch out for Oladapo, and it will remain with Omaha deep in Portland's end. Header couldn't quite get through for Stefano Pino. Varela misplayed. Ostrom scoops it, can't make its way to Ors Navarro. Continuing to keep it deep in the Portland end is Knapp, but he and Wutan will retreat back to Owusu. Brandon Knapp. You'll see Wutan quite a bit joining some defensive efforts, especially with two very offensive-minded wingbacks in Ostrom and Knapp. Both of them familiarity in the system, both of them in their second seasons with Union Omaha. However, for Knapp, he's got 2 full seasons under his belt as he hangs on. Ostrom joined in July of last season. The USL on ESPN2 is on Sunday, October 5th for a clash of championship teams fighting for their playoff lives. Eastern Conference's Rhode Island FC look to stay above the line against Western Conference's Las Vegas Lights as they look to climb above the cutoff. October 5th at 5 p.m. this Sunday on ESPN2. No one has quite been able to maximize any of the possession they have had, even though Omaha has had 2/3 of it to this point. Only that dangerous corner early on against Portland as that attempted slide by Southern will result in another Omaha throw. This Omaha side looking to go 6 for 6 in terms of the playoffs. They would be potentially the only team to do so. The only other team that have a chance to go 6 seasons and 6 playoff berths would be Greenville, but they're under the line. Turnover try. Pino widens. Knapp comes in. Kasim loads up, blocked. No second try as that dribbles out of play. Good news for Omaha, they'll stay with it in the attacking end. As we go again for not only the corners, but another one for Modelo. Ostrom has been the leading playmaker in USL League One. A lot of that comes from these set pieces. His header is towards goal, but caught by Oladapo. Couldn't quite get through the header of Stefano Pino as he was loose. But trying to find these guys in these open lanes have provided a lot of opportunities for Omaha. They have scored so many good goals on these set pieces, including guys like Pino. You would normally see Max Schneider on there, but he's not available for today's game. Especially from this very recent explosion of offense between some of the new guys like Stefano Pino, Prosper Kasim, Ors Navarro, another one of those guys. These first-year players who didn't make immediate impacts was one of the many reasons why Omaha struggled offensively early on, and they just couldn't find ways to hit the back of the net despite some of the best shooting numbers and XG numbers. But for Omaha, you knock down the door enough times and eventually you'll bust through, especially over the last 2 months or so. And Vincenzo Candela has been a large reason for that. His stint as the interim head coach of Omaha only about a week shy of 2 months, but he has been stellar in his tenure so far. Points in 10 of 13, including 7 wins. And as a previous player in the USL ecosystem, Candela, he knows what it takes to not only scrape points together when your backs are against the wall on the table, especially being in the very last seed as recently as beginning of August 2nd, match week 20. They were dead last in the league. We're Omaha. Attempted turnaround, gets picked off. Coming through, Varela. Dribbles past one, still working, but it's poked out of play. And well done too, because it's not just going to stop Portland's possession, but no second try will come from a potential corner. And that was one of the keys that Vincenzo Candela was talking about. Having to make sure that they are not only getting stronger and more consistent as the season comes on, especially in this final stretch, but ensuring that whoever they do allow to come in on the rotation, making sure that they perform when they do have their chance, especially when you never know when they might have the rules expanded. And some of these guys have taken that opportunity and have run with it. Kasim chipping it towards the area, nothing more. Right pokes it all the way up towards Kifcha. Marco Milanese, veteran center back from Italy at 29 years old. Third season with the Owls as Betcher brings it up. Can't quite make it to Bronick because he was interrupted. And not only have Omaha been dominant in the recent run of form, but they've also been able to really show out in front of this Werner Park crowd in the heart of Nebraska, especially for this expanded fan section, this noon kickoff local time game. Kept alive by Milanese. It's Ostrom again. Attempted cross was blocked for a throw. Bronick. Bronick loads up and just barely missed. Mark Bronick trying to get back on the scoring form that made him absolutely dominant between August and early September. Wanted to give it a go from deep, especially for a very young goalkeeper against another young forward, the 18-year-old Mark Bronick, in his second season, signing an academy contract with Omaha last year, getting his first crack at goal today. And trying to test a young goalkeeper as well, the 23-year-old Cash Oladapo. Only 2 starts in USL League One, including 3 more in the Jägermeister Cup. That lone appearance in the regular season was back on April the 12th in a 2-1 loss against Tormenta. And that was also on the road. Now he gets to stare into the belly of the beast that are the reigning champions, Union Omaha. As the longest and second longest unbeaten runs in USL League One, respectively, between Portland and Omaha. James barreled by Betcher, and whistle will favor Portland. Natty James playing in match number 51. The last time out against Texoma was his 50th professional match. Some of that spent in USL League One since he came over in the offseason, and 2 seasons in the Jamaican Premier League as we see that last try. Looks like James couldn't get a clear handle of the ball before Betcher came in late. And this gives an opportunity for the Hearts, as it's Evan Southern who will send this one. Quick check with our officiating at the top of the box. Southern ready to go, the 24-year-old formerly of James Madison. Southern short. He's got Messer. Skying this towards the box. Nuhu swats it down, but it will be offside against Portland. And Nuhu is slow. Might have taken contact on that, but this is an opportunity for one of your top offensive creators in Messer to at least give someone a chance. It looked like Nuhu took a bit of a nick off of the shoulder. Especially with Nathan Messer on the distribution, one of the best in the league, top 2 in USL League One in total crosses for Messer. He's also one of the best chance creators on the team, only trailing Ollie Wright in pretty much every offensive category. If it's not Wright, it's Washington that Messer trails. However, neither of them are starting. Wright is on the bench. Washington not even in the selection pool. Betcher. Deep try. Couldn't get further as Varela wanted to go way up for Krifta, but Betcher gets in the way. Or as Navarro juggles as Ostrom looks for the handle. Varela. The snatch and dump as the deflection will go back to Naples. Of the 13 games that Portland have played on the road, they have won their last 3. And despite having a defensive formula that has worked for them all season long, being a top 5 unit in the league in the fewest goals allowed, however, when they've had to travel, they've been a unit that have done everything they can to really pack it on. Not just winning their last 3 on the road, but doing so with offensive explosions, with 3+ goals across all those 3 matches. You had a 5-2 win on the road against Richmond, a 3-2 win on the road against Greenville, and a 3-2 win on the road against Westchester. When you're scoring 11 goals in a 3-game stretch, that is hard to beat at any level. Held in by Messer. He's got Mohammed. Mohammed, attempted cross. No one to receive. Man tripped on the ball. Messer gives it a swipe. But only towards Rashid Nuhu, not really threatening as it dribbles for a goal kick. Tune in to CBS Sports Golazo, October 4th for the Jägermeister Cup Final. From 38 clubs down to 2, Group 1 winner Sacramento Republic take on the wild card Hartford Athletic. 10 p.m. Eastern for the shot at the Jägermeister Cup on Golazo, October 4th. Saturday night for the Jägermeister Cup Final, something that Omaha saw last year. They were part of the semis in the All League One rendition. Mohammed trying to get out of a log jam, wide angle try, goes outside netting. When talking to Alex Ryan in the midweek about some of the recent successes of the Hearts, just talking about how this team has continuously found confidence, the belief within themselves, because they have continuously found ways to not just take the results that are given to them, but maximizing their opportunities, especially in late game scenarios. They've had games where they've turned losses into draws and even draws into wins at times. And just the ability to continuously find the way, especially with a first-tier club, building the overall relationships and the collective of not just the guys on the pitch, but everyone organizationally, top to bottom. It can be a very tricky puzzle to even attempt to put together, especially for a first-year club. But Portland have done quite a solid job, considering that they are 3 points away from a potential hosting slot, as that slide is unsuccessful. but it will draw a whistle and even a delayed yellow card. Flash towards Sean Vinberg as the first verdict is made by our lead official, Daniel Chesky. And Vinberg, he slides on the ball, but it's the second and third slide. He swatted it away with his hand, it looks like, while he was on his rear. And that is the first yellow card of the match. So yellow cards are brought to you by Alamo Drafthouse Cinemas. So with that yellow card on Vinberg, it will provide the set piece for Ostrom. 25 minutes into the first 45. Ostrom scoops it, headed down, top of the box, nothing there. Brendan Knapp from deep, still yet to find a goal on this season. Only one from last year. Corralled by Knapp. Owusu's with Milanese. Portland still yet to officially log a shot. Plenty of opportunities, including the early corner and the free kick opportunity they had a couple of minutes back, but still officially no shots on, not even attempted, let alone on target. That'll happen when you're sub 30% in the possession through the first 25. But a stumble frees things up for Portland. They might be on the attack. Evan Southern, full sprint ahead. Taken down, Milanese at center. They'll let it slide as it slid centrally. Ors Navarro working to Kasim. Kasim sidesteps, his try is blocked. Follow up as Knapp recovers. Betcher. Ostrom's alone far side. Curl coming to center, but nothing there except for the hands of Cashel Adapo. Charlie Ostrom continues to look for the crosses, especially not only because he's been one of the best at serving them up, top of the league in the Golden Playmaker race, but also he was a member of the Week 30 Team of the Week, in part because of his overall contributions to that match against Chattanooga, but he also did send the cross, did Ostrom. That actually got tipped in for an own goal against Chattanooga that opened up the scoring. And that was in the 14th minute that really got the ball rolling for Omaha. And then they just took that game in Chattanooga by the throat. By the end of the first half, Pino has Knapp. Portland clogging those lanes as no one can find it. Pino curling towards goal as that will bounce to Oladapo. This is the 5th to last game for Union Omaha, game 26 of 30 on their schedule for the last 5, including today, are going to be played here at Werner Park, especially with the backloaded schedule they've had. But they've been so good when playing here at Werner Park. There's a near 15-point swing between their goal differential at home versus on the road, plus 10 goal differential in their games played here at Werner Park versus when they have to travel. They're at a -4. You're looking at a 14-point swing when having to go away from Papillion. And that actually started in part because of their opening match back on May the 10th against these very Portland Hearts of Pine, where they played to a 2-2 draw. And especially for Omaha, they want to take the chance and opportunity, because when you have all of these games down the stretch against teams that are either playoff potential based on some potential future seeding, or even some teams you could play in the future, that opens up lanes, as this is going to be an advantage play towards Portland, as Varela just didn't commit to keeping it in, so it will remain with Omaha. Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the Academy to the big league, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Bronick into the area, deflected and wide. Pino was parked in front, but it went off of the defender. It's another corner to Omaha, but not without trying. Mark Bronick. He's listed on the right side of the formation, but he occupied the far side on that last chance, as you had Messer up in the grill of Pino, which will force another Charlie Ostrom corner kick. Another corner kick for Modelo. Still scoreless in Papillion after 30 minutes of play, as Ostrom will curl it. That goes off the head of the defender. You had a stumbling Shandon Wright. And just like that, number 4 and 5 back-to-back for Omaha and Modelo. Towards the box again, punched out by Portland. They'll complete the clear. Full steam ahead goes Nathaniel James, not before it can be played back towards Rashid Nuhu. We haven't called Nuhu's name very much. He hasn't needed to make a save. Portland yet to even get the shots attempted. The most they've done on Rashid Nuhu was an accidental clip in the box off of a service. Ostrom can't get by. Varela's in his face. And for these two, they both really had their attention set on the possession. Langlois drills it up the gut. A chance to fire, but can't get through. Tangled up with Owusu and Milanese. Ors Navarro. Prosper Kasim. He's got a man far side. Pino corrals. In towards the box. Kasim back to the middle. Nothing there. Swept away by Riley. Knapp. Centers. Bobbles. Ors Navarro. Can't get through. He was offside. And when all that's said and done, there was a delayed yellow card at the end of that last sequence. Charlie Ostrom in the book after the sequence. That was after the play was over. Both teams have already had their respective yellow card issues, despite not taking very many all year. Portland, they have conceded the 4th most yellow cards in USL League One, while The Owls have committed the second least, but both are dealing with respective yellow card accumulation suspensions with Mikey Lopez and Max Schneider. Ors Navarro blazing by. He's alone. He fires, but it's blocked by Vinberg. Ors Navarro trying to keep the streak going as he wanted to get another goal for himself and the Owls, but Vinberg, the pursuit to get back, just making sure that he wasn't lost on Ors Navarro. But this does give another Modelo corner to Omaha. Low driver. Mopped away easily by Portland. Knapp will start from the back. Bronick towards the box. No one there except for Wright. And this will pop for another corner. Another Modelo corner in the final 10 minutes of the first half. As Omaha looked to strike first, especially trying to increase the 1-point cushion they have on number 8, Charlotte. Outswinger, Betcher, it's down, second try is over. Betcher and Kasim with the 2 bites at the apple, but head contact between Southern and Pino. Both of them 6 foot even. It was a jump ball between Southern and Pino after Betcher got the first try. Pino got the elevation, but couldn't escape the contact. Especially for Evan Southern, he has already missed time this season due to injury. Missed 13 matches from mid-May to early August. That is regular season and Jägermeister Cup included. Especially for a guy that has already dealt with his fair share of injuries this year. And then for Stefano Pino, you just have all that experience at 34 years old, spending his time in Brazil and even some time in the MLS way back when, as we take our first look at this noon kickoff crowd on Student and Educators Day at Warner Park with this early kickoff. Union Omaha partnering with many of the local schools in the region to allow hundreds, if not thousands, of local kids in the community to not only take the afternoon, but to watch the Owls play and to maybe inspire the next generation of Academy products, perhaps, for those Bulls. And for Omaha, they've made their imprint on this Omaha region since coming to the league in 2020, pardon. Chance to go 5 for 5 in the playoff hunt, already having secured 3 trophies over the last 2 seasons between regular season titles and winning the whole thing back in the fall of last year. At around this point of the year, a year ago, we saw Omaha clinch the player shield, and we're the first to occupy a playoff position. However, this week, neither Omaha or Portland can clinch today. No one in the USL League One at all today can clinch, even with the later matchup in the evening between Knoxville and Chattanooga. And what a game that will be when it's all said and done. They want to check both Pino and Southern for potential head injuries, and now they're both back in the game. Mohammed fighting off Southern to support. Capped alive by Omaha, trying to go quick. Ors Navarro. End to end towards Ostrom. Bronick made contact, but the ball did cross the end line. Nathaniel James. Slippery. He still got it. Couldn't get by Milanese. Ostrom supports. Omaha had been stifled on the attack over the last 5 minutes or so, only getting opportunities on the corners. Especially for a unit that is amongst the top of the league in goals scored. They have the second most goals scored in 42 in totality. They only have 2 goals behind the leading team in that category, South Georgia Tormenta. I'm sure a lot of people before the year would have expected Omaha to be within the top of those marks, but Tormenta, the turnaround they've had after a shaky start, they're actually tied with Omaha with 36 points apiece. 35 points apiece, actually, because the Omaha results only if the result pans out, as you have Riley on the ground. Nice trip by Omaha, and to keep it in the lines as Kasim, the green grass, disrupted in front. Langlois to steal. Southern tries to help. Langlois can't get by. As Wutan and Kasim have the wing. Mark Bronick galloping by. Still Bronick, lays it, but miscommunication, as he couldn't get Wutan involved. Omaha just trying to be aggressive in possession, especially having to be at their top, especially with the ball at their feet. Potential offensive threats of Portland. They want to reduce the opportunity for some of those guys, especially the wing players with Messer and Muhammad, who's really built himself into a new role in the last month or so. And even with this new look lineup for the Hearts, they still have plenty of offensive threats. Natty James did score in his regular season debut against Omaha back in May. And then you also have experience in Langlois, who has been around the block with the hailstorm in Northern Colorado, even a couple of years in Australia before he came to NOCO. And then you have this blend of these really young, inexperienced players. Noah Kvifta played about 7 months in Norway with Oscar, where he's originally from in Norway, after spending 2 years with the FAU Owls. Down in Florida, you also have Mickey Riley, who is a Division III product with Carthage up in Wisconsin. This is his first year playing. And even, as we mentioned, Evan Southern, who actually transferred from the JUCO ranks. It's an opportunity to give new guys a chance to see what they're made up of. Bronick. Creativity, trying to get Ors Navarro free, but the hustle by Vinberg will stall the offense to Omaha. Oladapo deep. Kvifta only to Owls, including Ostrom. Owusu with Kasim up the middle. They'll split it. Bronick leaves it. Ostrom comes in. Here's Ostrom. Didn't get the cross in, but did get the clip off of Varela for the 8th corner of the half. 8th for Modelo as well. For context, Portland only have 1 corner in this match. Especially with Omaha kind of crossing it at will, 17-5 against Portland as Ostrom. Pino wasn't there. Wutan's the one-man back. Interrupted by the Hart. James getting around Wutan. He takes a stumble, and Wutan successfully not only jarring it away from Natty James, but taking it back for Omaha as well, especially for a man like James who has international experience with his home country of Trinidad and Tobago, as an extra 3 minutes are flashed up on the board. Kasim reaches. Navarro, the spin around. Here comes Bronick, trying to keep it in. Oladapo with the hands. This is a nice opportunity for Bronick to maybe start something, but Oladapo trying to not force another corner, especially because Omaha have just gotten so many of them. But it's one of the ways that this Omaha squad can threaten you. They can get behind you quick. As it's Portland trying to drive it in from deep. Kvifta was blocked. However, with Wutan getting back on his feet, it will draw the whistle away from Portland. It's been a very busy first half for our crew. Danielle Chesky with Eric Del Rosario, Charles Rupert, and Braxton Williams, the full crew in red today. Already knocking down 8 total fouls and a pair of yellows. Pino only as far as Varela, and he sends it all the way down the other end. For Portland, as we mentioned, their 8-game unbeaten run, but some of that is because of a trio of consecutive wins. All of them very impressive in their own right. The 5-2 thriller of a shootout they had at City Stadium against Richmond at the middle of the month of September on the 17th. And follow up with back-to-back 1-0 wins back in Fitzpatrick against both Naples and Texoma. Both of them 1-0 results. And we're talking to Coach Ryan. He just talked about how the clean sheets are nice, but 2 is great. Really starts with the defensive identity of the guys, even though they don't always play particularly well, like their Texoma match. They didn't really get their game going till the second half. After a stagnant initial 45 for Portland, they turned things on in the second half. We might be needing to say the same for both Omaha and Portland as they go into the halftime break scoreless through 45-plus minutes of play. And we've seen only perfection from Rashid Nuhu and Cash Oladapo in this 5-6 match in USL League One between Omaha and Portland. But the points will only continue to grow from this point forward. Scoreless in Papillion, but 2 heavy hitters in the USL League One trying to stake their claim into the postseason. More from the USL and League One when we return from the break.
It's our scissors. Basically, it's our cutters. Basically, it will cut the A post, B post, and that far. Most of us already know what to do, but if we have some... Then to your left. Sit down.
Yeah, you fit right into it, bro.
On, go into the environment. And it's not like the movies. Everybody goes, it's just like the movies. The fire's right over there. That's not true. Oh, no. 3, 2, 1, fight.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. There you go.
Natural.
First hit.
Returning to Werner Park, where we are scoreless between Union Omaha and Portland Hearts of Pine through the first set of 45 minutes. And with this being the final month of the regular season, we are closing in on the end of the regular season. Final 5 games. This is the 5th to last game for the Owls, and they have quite a task ahead of them. Good news for them, including today, 4 of the last 5 will be back in Papillion, including some potential future dates. Maybe that game versus Spokane on decision day could be huge, especially with Spokane on a bit of a slide as of late. They're in 4th now, or velocity, but they also have a chance to maybe catch up on some ground against Naples and some of the teams that are actually looking to reach up, with Omaha only 1 point above the line. Having wins against the teams chasing like Greenville and Madison could be huge for them going forward, especially at this point of the year where Omaha are trying to recover from the shaky start they had early on. For Naples and Spokane, they've been consistent, but for Greenville and Madison, the desperation will only grow from here. But they have maintained the heat in the last couple of matches. Portland also very hot in the last couple as well. 5 games for them after this afternoon's match between them and Union Omaha, including a huge road test coming up with Knoxville. If you go through the playoff scenarios, that could be a potential site that they may be going to over at Covenant Health Park. But you also have 3 matches against teams outside of the playoff line, with Madison, Westchester, AV Alta only 1 result away from getting in. A battle of the expansions to wrap up the regular season for the Hearts, including matches against 2 of the teams are also trying to catch in, Knoxville and Spokane. And if Portland can find a way to get a result today, they will have 3 points on Spokane, which would tie them each. So that could maybe be something that plays out over the next couple of weeks. But for Portland, they have cushion above the line. The question is, can they maybe steal a home game from one of these teams in the 3 and 4, with Naples and Spokane coming up? Lots to go in the USL and League One, but this Saturday, a huge one in the USL as we go through some of the latest with the upcoming Jägermeister Cup Final.
Welcome to the road to the Jägermeister Cup Final. The path to the knockouts went smoothly for Sacramento Republic FC, breezing through 3 wins in group play to win Group 1 with 9 points. The knockout rounds proved to be a bit tougher. Traveling cross-country to take on Loudoun United in the quarterfinal, the match would end in a scoreless draw, penalty kicks, securing the victory for the Republic. The semifinals took Sacramento to Rhode Island, where a competition record 5th clean sheet highlighted a 0-0 draw. leaving them at the mercy of penalties once again. Sacramento's cup keeper Jared Mazzola did not allow a goal to advance with a perfect PK performance. Hartford Athletic had a much wilder ride to the final and finished second in Group 4 to Rhode Island, but still racked up 9 points, snagged the final wildcard spot by playing to win, scoring 9 goals in the group to win the top tiebreaker over Louisville City. The quarterfinals took Hartford down south to San Antonio, where they took care of business 2-0. The semis brought the final League One team left standing to Hartford. Greenville Triumph pushed the Athletic until the final minutes. Marlon Hairston, Michi and Galena, decisive goals, winning 3-1. The final is set. Sacramento Republic FC and Hartford Athletic take their shot at glory to win the Jägermeister Cup.
It's great to win against an MLS team, but we'll do that any Wednesday, any Saturday.
It's our house. No one comes into our house and beats us.
If you're against us, it's not going to be good for you. But if you're with us, it's the greatest day you ever had.
The Kings of Chaos strike again!
They create such a loud environment, flags waving, chants.
When the team plays, it's like we're going into battle with them. It's always sort of that New Mexico underdog story, just waiting to happen.
Here comes the service. Dipping down! And the breakthrough is found! Rodriguez, it goes in! It's a gigantic lift for Las Vegas!
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a loan, my friend. Take a loan for free.
Today we went to the beach, and it was totally worth it. Get double points this fall at Best Western.
Hartford Athletic gets to the Jägermeister Cup final. Sacramento sweep the penalties. Sac Republic make another indomitable run to a cup final.
Returning to Papillion, where it is scoreless between Omaha and the Portland Hearts of Pine, as halftime is brought to you by Marriott La Vista, as we have a whole lot going on across the entire landscape of the USL and League One. Fort Wayne and Sporting Cascades have announced their head coaches getting ready for the 2026 debut for both Fort Wayne and the Cascades, as we have a brand new milestone in the USL League One. Evan Lee, the first player with 200 appearances across all competitions in USL League One. A very veteran-laden Greenville squad looking to rely on someone that they've been able to consistently go to year in and year out. And with the race to the playoffs presented by Terminix, one seat has been clinched in Chattanooga. 3 others came over the weekend between Knoxville, Naples, and Spokane. Portland maybe looking to add to their expansion brethren in Naples into getting the postseason. However, no one can clinch today, and no one can be eliminated across any of today's matches. But what we do have is Knoxville and Chattanooga coming up later in the evening as we take a look at the Week 31 schedule. As mentioned earlier, 6:30 kickoff between One Knox and Chattanooga at Covenant Health Park. That could be a humongous 3 points, as that could single-handedly determine who's the #1 seed in the league. However, with head-to-heads and tiebreakers, that is where you start to go through the slippery slope. But Knoxville can at least put themselves in that position. As we mentioned in the open, Tormenta are tied at the 6th place slot, with Omaha trying to build on their cushion against Westchester, Charlotte, and Spokane. Spokane trying to stay in the top 4, top 8 for Charlotte, and Portland will go back home to play Ford Madison in the afternoon on Saturday. And the Saturday slate continues with Chattanooga potentially trying to strip the first place away from Knoxville, depending on how things go, or maybe a chance to build up on Knoxville, with Knoxville going on the road to Richmond, where they've lost to prior before. Another battle of the expansions before the lone game of the Sunday slate comes with Omaha hosting Naples. Still scoreless. These kids are ready to get up and rowdy with the Owls and the Hearts, but no goals have come yet, as the second half is coming on the other end.
Oh, there's the rookie United States Formula driver Thomas Nordquist moving up the field. Certainly made his mark this season.
A chance, and it's still loose and knocked in.
It's an age-old tradition, sneaking a taste before it's ready to serve. But when you see the finest reserve label, you just can't help yourself. Because you know an immersive, unexpected flavor experience awaits. The passion and the creativity are felt and tasted in every bite. Twisting contemporary cuisine in satisfying new ways. It makes it almost impossible not to want to taste it before the meal. Finest Reserve. Every flavor tells a story.
My name is Anderson Holt, and I play center back for Union Omaha. It's been a great partnership, and I've definitely felt the effects because I've been a student for 2.5 years now, and I love the soccer school balance, and I think that they do a really good job communicating between the team and the school to help make sure that I'm always taken care of and they're looking after me.
Returning to Omaha in a scoreless draw between the Owls and the Hearts of Pine. But there have been plenty of opportunities, predominantly from Union Omaha, out shooting Portland by a huge margin. They've actually updated. Portland now has 1 shot attempt on the afternoon versus the 9 that Omaha have amassed. And many of them coming in from deep, with guys like Mark Bronick getting in the mix. Stefano Pino's been fighting his way to the box. Prosper Kasim has been launching. But at the end of the day, Cash Oladapo, despite only 2 starts in USL League One play, he has been perfect so far as we get ready for the second half. Union Omaha will be in the black and green stripes. They will start off right to left, while Portland are in the white kits with the blue shorts. Left to right, they'll begin. As we return here to Werner Park in Papillion, Nebraska, where it is a 5-6 matchup in the USL League One between Portland and Omaha, respectively. Both riding the longest unbeaten runs in the league. 8 games with points including 6 wins, 2 draws for Portland. 5 wins, 2 draws for 7 unbeaten for Omaha. Ostrom. All the way back towards Milanese. No one made changes, either Alex Ryan or Vincenzo Candela at the break. A chance to sprint forward. Wooton got a lane towards Bronick. Returns. Wooton couldn't get there before it's poked out of play. Langlois got in front of it, but it will maintain with Omaha. And because Omaha have spent about 2 months in a playoff push since being at the bottom of the table all the way back in June, they've had to really turn up the heat over the last several months. Ostrom curls it across, it scores! Back-to-back for Prosper Kasim, and Omaha are on the board first. Kasim on Kids Day, as it is a beautiful opening minute sequence. Ostrom comes across, no one's got Kasim on the backside, and that's a tap in for Kasim. He's got back-to-back goals between this game and the Chattanooga game as Omaha open up the scoring. Only a minute plus in. And for Kasim, that goal against the Red Wolves was his first in a little over a month. He makes it 2 to not only wrap up September, but to kick off October. As this goal is brought to you by Herdot Sports Bar. And Omaha have gotten in front once again. This is the 3rd straight match where they got on the board to start the game. However, for the matches against Spokane and Chattanooga, those goals came early. They both came in the opening quarter hour between the 14th minute of the Chattanooga game and the 6th minute of the Knoxville game. It took them all the way until the 47th, just about a minute and a half out of the break. Kasim from Ostrom. And Ostrom breaks the deadlock he had with John Baccaro at the top of the Golden Playmaker race, as this one is clipped out of play by Milanese for the first corner of the second half for either squad. Only Portland's second corner brought to you by Modelo. Nathaniel James to take. Booming ball end to end. Possession will flip. So Ostrom stands alone with 9 assists in the 2025 season. He's darn near doubling up on his previous career high with Chicago Fire 2 with 5 back in 2022. But he and Baccaro of the Charlotte Independents, they were tied in that Golden Playmaker race with 8, already surpassing the total of Alfredo Medense's Golden Playmaker mark, who had 7 a year ago, formerly of Central Valley Fuego, now with Lexington. However, that season in last year's League One campaign was much shorter due to a significantly longer All-League One Jägermeister Cup. But that still does not take away from anything that Ostrom has done, continuously finding guys in opportunities and lanes. And he has also been the key distributor on set pieces. There's Betcher. Potentially another on the way. Bronick continues to go one-on-one with Varela. And we have an owl down towards center. It's Stefano Pino. Well, the corner will go to Omaha. Pino will make his way back on his feet. Has been in the pro ranks since 2012, both in the US and overseas, in the USL, NASL, and the MLS, including stints in both Brazil and Finland for Pino. As he gets back up on his feet, Ostrom sending the first corner of the second half, presented by Modelo. Low, Bronick. Deflects top of the box, Knapp leaves it. Skied, Bronick into the center, can't find Milanese. The clearance will come off the foot of Riley. And potentially an attack coming for Portland, and a takedown will give the ball right back to Portland, but will give the yellow card to Lawrence Wooten. Wooten is trying to disrupt the progress of Varela, who has really been a threat on both ends of the pitch, Walter Varela. Trying to go up against the very prominent young forward in Mark Bronick, but Varela took the contact from Wooten. Southern and Messer stand over the ball. It is Messer, but it's way outside of the realm of play. And this will go towards Rashid Nuhu for the goal kick. Messer's game-winning goal against Texoma put him not only in the W column with 3 points against Texoma, but also he's been one of the key contributors of this Texoma side. Team of the week 30 for 4 goals on the season. Second in goal contributions with 9 total. Bronick. In front it comes, Navarro, wide angle. Save, second try, takedown in the area. Everyone in Omaha clamoring for a penalty before it's pushed away. Only as far as Owusu at center. Betcher retreats towards Wooten. Kasim. Not quite there. Betcher keeps it alive. Ors Navarro. Foot race comes. Messer's back with Kasim, and that will pin them into the corner. Not a corner, but a near corner throw in, but this was a great chance as the wide angle try by Ors Navarro. They wanted to get Pino and Vinberg that little pretzel of the legs as a penalty against Portland. Would have been a fair case had Daniel Czechsky actually blown it dead and given the penalty. But for anyone in Portland breathing a sigh of relief, they'll take the ball back on the next throw. Vincenzo Candela leading the way for Union Omaha over the last 2 months or so. Alex Ryan, the acting manager. Bobby Murphy unavailable. He was ill, didn't even make the trip from Maine to Nebraska. But for Alex Ryan, just trying to focus on his job to keep things as smooth and not too abstract. Trying to ensure that the guys are as comfortable on this road trip as possible. Just adhering to the systems that have garnered them success at this point of the season. Especially with the communication between Alex Ryan and Bobby Murphy. Already 2 guys that have had their viewpoints and processes aligned since the jump. Ostrom trying to come in before it's dumped away. Wright came back to support, but it will remain with Omaha on the throw. Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek. Your ticket to great seats. It is Students and Educators Day here at Warner Park in this midweek matinee matchup, allowing hundreds, if not thousands, of local kids in the community get their opportunity to not only see the reigning champs in action, but also the opportunity for community engagement for this Omaha side, something they take pride in, of being not only part of the team, but part of the overall Omaha and Nebraska community as a whole. And who knows, it could be a chance to see some of the next prospects of Union Omaha get their first wind of the sport, especially with the overall recent boom in youth soccer participation, even over the last 10 years or so. Whether it be the back-to-back World Cups from the USA women's team, or the potential chance to see some of the World Cup games come to the US a summer from now. Milanese returns for Nuhu as we're a dozen minutes into the second half. And that pass went awry and will win it back towards Portland. Varela taken out by Wutan. Coach Ryan talking about how this team has continuously increased the competitiveness as the games have gone on. It's been one of the just overall components of building a team from scratch. Varela tried to scoop it in centrally. However, nothing more comes except for a whistle against Portland. And for Portland, a lot of that has come because they've been slowly climbing as they've come together as an entire unit. Getting hot at the right time only adds to that blend, that overall coming together of the team and the roster. And not just the overall experience that many of these guys have had, either in leagues overseas or opportunities from around the USL landscape. As they try to push it on, landing on top of the ball was James, and this will hold play. A little bit awkward there as James landed on top of the ball. Nathaniel James, third-year pro, last 2 seasons with Mount Pleasant in the Jamaican Premier League. Talking about how the overall experience of some of these guys, whether it be from leagues elsewhere or within the USL landscape, allows them to really push the pace on each other as individuals, whether it be in training or in games, both the encouraging and the demanding types of accountability for this Hearts team. And it has blossomed them into being one of the best squads in USL League One. The current longest unbeaten run at 8, top 5 in the league, a chance to tie Spokane to the top 4. And they have been able to find ways to get points from behind. They have the most in the league. James sent towards goal off of the wall. A bit of a stumble right off of the breakout. as we see a player down. That's Kasim, goal scorer of the lone goal today, as we will be getting the first change of the match. This is the chance to see the entry for Michel Poon Arjanan, as Evan Southern will leave the match. Poon Arjanan, 24 years old, from Trinidad and Tobago, spent the last 2 seasons with Port of Spain in the top division of the Trinidad and Tobago professional soccer pyramid, including 19 caps as a part of the international team. Him and Natty James, both internationals with Trinidad and Tobago on this Portland roster. Since we were talking about the overall experience that comprise this Portland lineup. This one goes over the end line as Muhammad was unable to save it. Vincenzo Candela will make his first changes of the afternoon right at the hour. We start off with Cello Martinez. Will be the replacement for Lawrence Wooton. Martinez, veteran in the midfield, with another veteran in the midfield in Dion Akoff. He will take the place of Prosper Kasim. The lone goal scorer, Akoff, about a week removed from his 34th birthday. The Fontana, California native has spent 6 years professionally in Iceland and Finland before making his way to Omaha all the way back in 2022. For Martinez, a staple in the USL roster in some way, shape, or form since he got his first stint in the championship with the Rio Grande Valley Toros back in 2019 with a USL League Two development stint with South Georgia Tormenta before Tormenta made their way up to League One. And right out of the jump, only about a minute after the changes were made, we see Arjanan with Messer. Arjanan, 23 appearances, still yet to find a goal. But at this angle, it could just be distribution. It is Messer, and just missed. Nathan Messer going towards goal on that last attempt, especially for Portland's side that are trying to find a way to creep up from behind and steal some points. They have been the best team in the league at finding points from behind. 15 leads all of USL League One. However, Omaha, when they get the early lead, they are rock solid. Points in 10 of 12, including 8 wins. Portland going deep. James can't corral Martinez, preventing it from going over. Ostrom down the line, but out. So we will have 3 substitutions coming up for Portland Hearts of Pine. 3 of probably their best offensive contributors on the season. Start off with Ollie Wright, who just got past his 100th professional match last time out versus Chattanooga. If you take a look at the last game that these two played back on June 15th, it was a 3-0 match, or 3-1 match, pardon. But Ollie Wright got a hat trick in that game that was back at Fitzpatrick Stadium. You also have Jake Keegan, who has been one of the most well-experienced USL League One players in League One history. 147 appearances in USL League One, and his 42 goal contributions is top 5 in league history. And JT Kamara coming in from the USL League One ranks with Columbus Crew 2 before spending 2 years in Sweden. This one's clipped in the area, nothing but black in the way. Angeron. Muhammad comes in, back to Angeron. Scoop towards the area, but nothing except the end line. So with Kamara, Wright, and Keegan, they basically do an entire change up on the right side of their 4-4-2 formation. At least the initial 4-4-2 formation for Alex Ryan, with Krifta, Riley, and Varela being out of the game. Varela also got a yellow card early in the match too. Springing upward, attempted center by Messer, doesn't quite go because it took a nick off a defender. Third Portland corner of the match. First time we see Ollie Wright in action. Ollie Wright towards the box, only Nuhu there. Akoff and Kamara will watch it roll out of play. Wright stumbles. Not there. Pardon, that's not right. That's Keegan. Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesday nights, plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more on SiriusXM FC 157 or the new SiriusXM app. Bronick has to work with Muhammad after Varela exited the match only a couple of minutes or so ago. And for Muhammad, he's had a real significant uptick in his playing opportunities. Only 6 appearances in 75 minutes between May and August, but has seen 4 starts in September alone. 5 starts if you include today for Mo Muhammad, formerly of Seattle University. And we're talking to Alex Ryan about Muhammad, talking about how he had injuries earlier on in the season, how he just put his head down, got to work on the rehab and the integration into the lineup, especially for the late ad. It takes time, as this one trying to close down was Kamara, but not quite there. "70 minutes into 90 of this matinee matchup. Keegan holds back for Angeron as Wright had harassment all over him. And you're turn to this back line of Vinberg. Right. Keegan couldn't control. But alone near side comes Nathaniel James. Muhammad. Trying to get around Muhammad on Ostrom as Kamara set the feed, but too much. Ostrom eats the contact. This is something that Portland have tried to do at points during the game, as Muhammad and Ostrom are now the two to tangle up. This will bring some new elements into this game, with Brandon Knapp making his exit for Joe Gallardo to come in. For Gallardo. He's been in and out of the lineup due to injury at large points of the season, but has been a relatively consistent contributor. Really having an offensive resurgence, coming as a substitute for good chunks of the season. Another 5-goal campaign, something he hasn't really had across multiple seasons, just being in and out of the lineup due to injuries, but was a key part of that 2024 run from a year ago. Arguably the most experienced and most well-versed of the Owls, on the attacking side at least, of anyone who stayed. As the Owls saw a lot of talent leave in the offseason. Ors Navarro opening up. Bronick attempting to set up Pino or Gallardo. However, the feed was not there for Bronick. It was roll-out play. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Milanese and Owusu trying to clear. Keegan getting creative towards right. Flubbed by Betcher. Distance try, blocked by Owusu. And it'll be controlled by Nuhu. Haven't seen a lot of the counterattack opportunities that Portland have been able to feast on, especially with Portland being one of the best teams in scoring and scoring opportunities, especially on the break. It was something that Omaha have been really focused on, especially against their match against Knoxville, where they let 2 in off of counters and counterattack attempts. And for that, Coach Candela just talked about making sure they're really limiting everyone else's opportunities on defensive side. They got compromised a couple times against Knoxville, which allowed them to get 2 goals to tie that game, especially when they're not executing on offense. When you have the 2 sides of the ball not really in perfect harmony with one another, it can create issues as the game goes on. It allowed Knoxville to creep back into that game, get from a 2-0 advantage for Omaha into a 2-2 draw. But then they got back to business against the Red Wolves, where they got 3 goals pretty early in the first half, in about half an hour or so, and then just hung on against the Wolves. Bronick, his try is blocked. No follow-up, as he got contact on the defender streaking across. And took a while, but made his way back to Nathaniel James, who was a part of the Trinidad and Tobago roster back in September, only a month ago, as a part of the World Cup qualifiers. especially for a young man only 21 years of age. That experience can really shape you as a player so early on in your career, not just meaningful minutes on both the professional and international stage, but probably some of the highest platforms across all of world football with the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. And that bid probably much harder this year than most because the CONCACAF has those extra 3 seats already preoccupied with the trio of hosts between Mexico, Canada, and the US. Falls to Pino, launched after the whistle. That time it was Shandon Wright getting up. And although we've seen 4 changes from Portland, probably some of the more puzzling things about their substitutes isn't who they had available, but some of the guys they left off the roster completely. Yes, you have Mikey Lopez, who has to serve the first of his 2 games of yellow card accumulation suspension because he got 11 in the last time against Texoma. Wright has to hold off Pino so that Oladapo can release. But then you also have some of their top offensive contributors, Titus Washington, who is one of not just the best offensive contributors, but also one of the best playmakers on the Hearts of Pine roster. Masashi Wada is not even in the selection pool for this match either. That only helps out Vincenzo Candela, knowing that some of the top offensive threats that he was maybe looking out for didn't even make the trip. Especially for a Omaha team who have been so stellar at home, unbeaten in 7 of the last home games, with a staggering plus 13 goal differential across those 7 games at home. We mentioned in the open, they're averaging darn near 2 goals a game on the winning margin in their 7-game unbeaten run. Plus 14 goal differential in 7 matches. Same goes at home, plus 13 in 7 matches. So they're basically beating teams by an average of 2 goals, the margin, in each home game they've had as of late. Probably an outside chance at the top 4, but at the very least a chance to go a perfect 5 for 5 in terms of playoff appearances and years in USL League One. Charlotte, the only other team, potential chance to go 5 for 5. Greenville trying to go 6 for 6. However, Charlotte only 3 points above AV Alta at number 9. Oh, there's a strip. Bronick couldn't get free. It's loose. Pino sidesteps to Bronick. Curled back in the area. Nothing there. Angeron sliding by. Trying to get around Akoff. Messer with help from Wright. Langlois. JT Kamara. The reception from Muhammad. But a player down just outside of the area. That is Nathaniel James again. James has been all over the pitch in today's match. You see him hustling back to help out the defense. You see him pressing up to get on the attack. We've seen no hydro breaks in this match, but the temps have increased as this match has gone on, closing in on 82 degrees Fahrenheit on a very breezy day here in Papillion. As you see him just kind of drop at the top of the box. Final 10 minutes of this match. And for the Hearts, the stellar defense in recent form did finally crack. It took the 47th minute off of a nice crossing feed to Prosper Kassim from Charlie Ostrom, ending a shutout streak of 241 minutes. That spanned all of the game against Naples, the clean sheet against Texoma, the first half of this game and the final couple minutes of their road game against Richmond. But with 5 games remaining in the regular season, and we are basically towards the end of this match, we look ahead for Omaha. As we mentioned when we first showed the schedule at the halftime, they are trying to catch up on some teams. Naples is in front of them, Spokane's in front of them. You have 2 playoff desperate teams coming up as well with Madison and Greenville, and their only road game is against a team that is currently below the playoff line in the Greenville Triumph. So they have opportunity to make up ground on some of the teams they have available. Same with Portland Hearts of Pine, a very backloaded home schedule. They have a lot of opportunities to capture points against teams trying to chase. Avialta could be out of it. Westchester's already been eliminated. Madison are pretty far below the playoff line as well, but they might have a chance to play, at least get in the mix of the playoff race for the Mingos. And then they also have a chance to host Spokane later in October as well. So it's a lot of really interesting opportunities for both teams with playoffs in the looming in the distance. So the pair of changes come for the Owls off that last little break. Yeah, Barjolo and Botello Foz coming in. Ors Navarro and Bronick will exit. Barjolo on loan from Orange County in the USL Championship. Lawrenceville, Georgia native, but a very young player at only 18 years of age. He's only been in 5 matches this season, all coming since his first appearance at the beginning of August against Chattanooga. And then Botello Foz, 29 years old, for only about a month. Mid-season acquisition in June. Langlois continues to distribute. Wright leaves it behind. Messer comes in. Messer dancing through Gallardo and Akoff. And the 2 veterans getting it done and sending it as far as Vinberg. Mohammed can't connect. Ostrom goes deep. Streaking by was Botello Foz, not in time. So we got a chance to show those future schedules for both Omaha and Portland, especially for the overall dominance they both had in their respective home venues. Omaha 5-2-3 at home at this point of the season. Could go to 6-2-3. That would be points in 9 of 11 if Omaha can clinch the win in the final 7 minutes plus stoppage. And then you have Portland Hearts of Pine. They have been so good at home, with 4 of the last 5 being back at Fitzpatrick Stadium. A place where they've already been absolutely stellar. 6 wins, 4 draws, and only a singular loss back in Maine for the Hearts of Pine. It definitely opens the door for what Portland can do, especially because 3 points would tie them with Spokane velocity if they can creep up. Spokane also a team that have been sliding without a win in their last 4, including back-to-back losses, are Velocity FC. Akoff sliding through before he retreats towards Betcher and Owusu. Final 5 minutes of regulation. And for Omaha, they might be seeing some extra depth come with Max Schneider serving his second game of a 2-game yellow card accumulation suspension. For Schneider, the last couple matches against Knoxville, he got his 11th yellow, which is a suspension for 2 games. Served his first against Chattanooga, serving the second today for Schneider. So extra depth in the midfield should help, as Betcher, one of those midfield players, play will stop. You had Gallardo, who was knocked down top of the area. And this will be a very close free kick. This is under 20 yards. So Omaha will get another chance at goal with under 5 minutes in regulation. This has already been a team that take a lot of opportunities towards goal, are the Owls. They already have 11 shot attempts on 3 on target in this game. However, the big difference maker over this stretch for Omaha have been the quality of the chances. A very high quality one here is Gallardo and Chelo Martinez inside 20 yards. Already on a 1-goal lead, a chance to double. Gallardo towards goal and missed. That would have been a beautiful chance to put the game away for Joe Gallardo. Just couldn't get it done. It was a chance to tie a career high 6 goals that he had back in 2019 with the Richmond Kickers. He's still 1 shy of that mark, as we have a very delayed whistle coming up. This will not only halt play, but this will bring the ball way up for Portland. It's been a very busy day for the officiating crew with Daniel Chexky, Eric DeRosario, Charles Rupert, and Braxton Williams. Keegan down to ground, and that got whistled down. Wright and Messer will stand over it. It is Wright. Only Owls in the way. Angeron scoops it. Messer back to the center. It got clipped. Second try, still up for grabs. And contact in the area. Nuhu was upended as Vinberg was going for the header. And now players have to be separated. A nice chance for the Hearts as Messer got it across. Betcher prevented Vinberg from getting it through, and on the scramble back, there was some very obvious contact between Vinberg and Nuhu. Familiarity with each other, just being a part of USL League One. Vinberg was a mid-season acquisition about 14 months ago to Central Valley Fuego, helping the Fuego round out the final 3 months of their season in the center back spot after spending a couple of seasons overseas in Germany. And that all came after rounding out his college career at Oneonta about 10 years ago. As the USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on CBS Sports, Golazo, and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. If Omaha can hang on for stoppage time, they'll have the new longest unbeaten run in the league. However, lengthy stoppage is a lifeline for Portland as Batella Faz and Muhammad get into it. Mohammed, just coming off of 4 seasons with Seattle University after joining Portland in the middle of May. Botello Faz came to Omaha only about 2 weeks after Mohammed came to Portland. And for Botello Faz, that was coming after a 2024 campaign where he did not play in the pros. As Botello Faz will take it with Pino short. Andron gets it free as Wright has help from Messer. Portland trying to, at the very least, scrape away a point. Their unbeaten run hanging in the balance with 8 straight, longest in the league. However, if Omaha win, they'll have 8 unbeaten, the most in the league, at least in terms of the active unbeaten runs. Portland go on the road one more time this year. They'll go to Knoxville 10 days from now. Especially for a Knoxville side who are not only chasing the #1 overall seed, they are unbeaten at home. R1 Knox into the area. Pino lays it back. Martinez turns it over. Jarred loose by JT Kamara. Langlois. Ali Wright held up, tripped up was Mohammed, and this will be a stoppage in play as that is Ryan Betcher who stuck the leg out. Ryan Betcher was so stellar on the attacking end when he made his arrival in Omaha. He just got a little bit desperate there with Mohammed creeping in. But for Betcher, only his 2nd year pro since having a single season with UCLA after being a transfer from UMBC. Betcher, one of the real difference makers on this Omaha offense, as Barjolo full steam ahead, but Oladapo way out of his box to clear. Barjolo about a mile offside. Kamara, stonewalled. Cleared by Omaha as Pino and Wright came together right at the center circle. We're halfway through stoppage time. Portland still yet to get a shot on target. All of Nuhu's touches have been either on the crosses or some of those weird bounces that have been washed away by whistles. Especially for over 25 combined fouls in this match. Scooped in the area, and that's held on by Nuhu, looking for Jake Keegan. Keegan, this is only his 2nd appearance since the beginning of August. He took an injury against Richmond on August 9th and had to miss about a whole month and a half. Still looking for his 1st goal of the year after 30 in USL League One in totality for the 13-year pro Keegan. Ostrom set up the lone goal for Kasim. Milanese will watch it roll back towards Nuhu as Martinez is now down. It has not been the best go of it for Omaha defensively. Let's take a last look at that last foul. That was Ostrom. Oh, he got an elbow from Kamara. Kamara just a little bit errant on the elbow and clipped Ostrom in the face. But the two goalkeepers have not had the best go of it, either of them, as that Kamara yellow card is brought to you by Alamo Drafthouse Cinemas. Towards the box, Pino controls, took a swipe, taken down, but Telefaz the follow-up. Corner kick towards Omaha in the final minute of stoppage. The first time these two played, Nuhu allowed a pair. The last time these two played, Jensen allowed 3. However, Nuhu's been perfect so far, as Telefaz and Pino, they've been connecting with each other a good amount since Telefaz came into the game. That was back in the 81st minute, and for those near 20 minutes, including stoppage, they've been on the same page, Telefaz and Pino. Ball still in play. Portland the throw, into the box. Angeron, attempted center, clipped by Milanese. And for the 3rd time this half, 4th time all game, Portland will have a corner brought to you by Modelo. Likely the final action of the game as JT Kamara will take the near side corner. We're past 6. Towards the middle, headed up. Aladapo in the area, but nothing comes. Nuhu hangs on, as this will be a new League One longest consecutive run. Union Omaha now have 8 unbeaten in a row. And Nuhu stays perfect for the 44th time in his USL League One career. The kids have something to celebrate here at Werner Park. A 1-0 win over Portland Hearts of Pine. They now have 4 points of cushion on Charlotte above the playoff line. And a lot of that wouldn't be done without our man of the match. Right in the middle of the jumble, Prosper Kasim, as our man of the match is brought to you by Platinum Chiropractics. Prosper Kasim, the lone goal of today's game, his 3rd of the year, 59 as a professional for the 28-year-old from Ghana. And his lone goal is the one that will give Omaha the 3 points and puts them within 2 points of Portland. More from the USL League One, and we wrap things up in Omaha when we come back.
Back center, right guard. Damn, right guard, bro. No, it's me.
Nice. Exactly. It looks like me. In the slot. X in the slot's wide open. Oh yeah, Jensen. Oh yeah, Jensen. Oh.
Returning here to Werner Park, where Union Omaha got the 1-0 lead and the victory against Portland Hearts of Pine. They hung on only a minute after the halftime break to give themselves 4 points of cushion. within the USL League One table, and now they sit 2 points behind Portland in the number 5 seed. That could be significant in terms of the potential travel once the playoffs conclude at the end of the month as we go through our full-time highlights between Omaha and Portland. And the second half was really an opportunity for Omaha to let the creativity fly. Ostrom, the feed right on the money to Prosper Kasim, the slide in for his 3rd goal of the season, his 2nd goal in back-to-back, not only getting the goal in Chattanooga, but back at home against Portland as well. However, the chances wouldn't end there. Ors Navarro getting that shot to come across off of the body of Oladapo, the only save he really had to make in the second half. Most of the threat of Oladapo came in the first half, but right before the end of regulation, Portland made a resurgence, especially with some of the changes made offensively back into the middle of the area where Vinberg and Nuhu made some contact. That ended a chance, but for Portland, after back-to-back clean sheets, they get shut out themselves and they'll have to recalculate things going into the next game. Full-time stats presented by Pepsi. After the 1 goal, it really kind of tells the overall story of why Omaha have been on the run that they have. After beating Portland, Omaha now has the currently longest unbeaten run at 8. They sit at 6-0-2, and a lot of that, when you look at the numbers of today's game, it really shows why. They're threatening the back line, getting corners in, even though they're offsides a trio of times. That shows they're at least threatening the back line of Portland with dominance in offensive attacks, offensive shots attempted, and scoring chances, high danger chances, and that all comes and ends with possession, just playing keep away with the ball, something that Coach Candela said was going to be a point of emphasis against this Portland squad. If we can be able to hold on to the ball and be efficient with it, we can come out with 3 points at the end of the day, and they did when the 90 minutes were wrapped up in Werner Park. That'll do it for our entire crew here in Papillion, Nebraska. It was a lengthy one here in Omaha, but it comes out with the Owls defending the home dirt with 5 games remaining in the schedule. For our entire USL League One and ESPN Plus crew, my name is Ryan Lee. Omaha win 1-0. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.